I believe in making my team members successful as a leader and as a women leader. So I don't limit my success with just the success of my projects. I look at, hey, how many more leaders did I create in every organization? When you become a women leader and you have to lead men who are in your team. So that's I think the more challenging and the more interesting part of being a women leader in the industry, because when you are just a women member, you have to prove yourself. But when you're a women leader, you have to make the men in your team also work and the women in your team also feel empowered and safe. You have to talk about your success stories more often. I think women fall short of that. Women are far more humbler.
Hello and welcome to the She Slays Leadership Talk presented by Health Shots. I'm your host Suchitra Rajendra and I run a HR consulting boutique firm. Today, we're delighted to have Namita Tiwari, Forbes Council leader and a former director and global head of marketing at Wipro as an esteemed guest. Welcome Namita to this studio and really glad to have you here with us. It's a pleasure. Namita, for the audience, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm happy to be here telling something about myself. Predominantly, I'm a marketing leader, 21 years of experience in marketing. Started my journey with Nucleus and Infosys, worked with companies like HCL Tech, Accenture, Wipro. And it's been a good 21 years of marketing journey that I've had. Worked across functions in marketing like digital content, account-based marketing, product marketing. So it's been a fairly interesting journey as a marketing leader and as a women leader.
Wow, 20 years, and the industry has really changed during this period, especially in the space of digital and content. All of these areas have completely skyrocketed, right? So what has been your biggest learning as you've traveled this space?
I think the biggest learning for me is to kind of be quick at adopting technology. While I have been a technology marketer myself, I think the way technology is driving marketing, and one of the favorite things that I keep talking about is technology is a key driver of marketing, almost a twin to marketing. I think technology, adopting technology, being proactive with technology, being the first person to look at what's there in the market and let me try and adopt it in this company and do a pilot run. I think the biggest learning over my 20 years has been to be very vigilant about technology, to be proactive in adopting technology. If you observe carefully, everything gravitates towards marketing, Social media marketing is a function in itself, Can you deny it? Can I deny it? Absolutely no. So technology, adoption of technology in life is, I think, the greatest learning. One more learning I want to talk about is, change, adopting change, being open to change, applying change, accepting change, making your teams accept change. I think these are the two. Power of technology and change are the two biggest learnings.
Right. So it's very interesting you're saying that, because obviously technology has made a huge impact in your life and how you've adopted it, accepted it, in fact, look forward to the change that it brings about and seen the power of that. So what's been the biggest challenge, of course, like as you grew in the career, what is something that you thought, wow, can I really do that? And what has that been for you?
Oh, very interesting question. So, sometimes when you move from a larger organization to a smaller organization and you think that there's this is how things used to work there and, they would work even more simply in a smaller organization. No, there are many things. So every ecosystem has its own, constraints and strengths. So I think one of the biggest challenges have been when I have switched from bigger organizations to smaller organizations. While I am taking on a far more powerful leadership role, still every ecosystem has their own constraints. So applying ideas, selling ideas, selling your ideas to the leadership team, getting the budgets, and then, making the teams work. There's a difference when you have, employees who you are leading, and there's a difference when you have agencies who are leading. I think there's great I mean, I have had all kinds of experiences, and the challenges have been to make people work in your leadership, despite the constraints and the motivation levels and the opportunities around. So yes, I mean, these have been.
So biggest challenge, was shifting from one ecosystem to the other, and yet making sure that you are able to, successful in that new ecosystem by inviting different stakeholders or managing, inspiring, and all of that, right? Yeah.
I believe in making my team members successful as a leader and as a women leader. So I don't limit my success with just the success of my projects. I look at, hey, how many more leaders did I create in every organization I went? So from that perspective, those have been the kind of challenges.
To make sure everybody succeeds with you. Yeah.
Yes.
So not just
as I move from one
ecosystem to the other. Yeah. So again, this is a lot about agility and change and accepting, right? So tell me, as you mentioned a couple of times, woman leader. So what does that really mean? How have you come across any biases during this time? What were they, and how did you deal with it?
I have come across women biases as a team member, as a women team member during the early stages of my career. And as a team member, I combated it by just, believing in myself that, I am good and I can reflect that in my work. But the interesting part is when you become a women leader and you have to lead men who are in your team. So that's I think the more challenging and the more interesting part of being a women leader in the industry, because when you are just a women member, you have to prove yourself. But when you're a women leader, you have to make the men in your team also work and the women in your team also feel empowered and safe. It's a two-way kind of a sword. So yes, I have come across, and if I face any challenges with any of the male team members, I try mentoring, I try explaining, and if it doesn't work out, I let them go. So I've been very strong and fierce in my leadership.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're saying managing men is more difficult than
it can be. We live in a man's world.
Yeah. So and then how you manage that. So tell me, that's a very interesting thought just came up. What is the one technique that you probably use to initially get everybody to accept you as a woman leader?
Yes. So if I am feeling that there is any bias that I am coming across, or irrelevant constraints are coming across in my journey as a women leader, I would kind of bring it to the notice of the business leaders and not just rely on informing the HR about it. So it would always be in notice of the business leaders, and organizations are kind of becoming more vigilant. They may not by default be that proactive about women empowerment, but if you call them out, they will be. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So you're raising awareness about the issue to people other than just keeping it to yourself. You're standing up for
just
it.
Going to the
HR, but you're really raising awareness about the issue and making yourself heard about it. And I think that's so important for all women out there who are working, to make sure that if you come across a bias, call it out.
Yes.
Right? And raise that awareness.
And believe in yourself.
Yeah,
that
believe
you
in
can
yourself.
do it.
And I like the words that you use. Be strong and fierce.
Yes.
So stand for your beliefs and make sure you project that strength in others.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about when you have now looking back. Has been any moment that you thought, wow, that was a moment that my career really took a turn and pivoted to where I am today?
So there are two turns that really made a difference, very memorable turns. So when I took up my first leadership role to start a digital marketing function from scratch in a company that's now called Coforge, I think that was very pivotal, 2013. And then I would also call joining Wipro, where I was leading the global marketing function for cloud infra services. It's one of the important business units. It's 2.5 billion out of the 11 billion of Wipro. So I think that these two have been very pivotal in my career, and I've enjoyed these roles. Yes.
And at that time, these were quite brave decisions, right? Especially starting So when you now look back, what do you think was the decision making that happened inside of you to take that decision, to take the plunge into starting a digital marketing team?
Yes, I've been very bad. Like when digital marketing came and a lot of social media marketing came, I've always been like very savvy about using them. I was aware of them. I remember HCL Tech doing a Twitter campaign to recruit people, which was, I think, a great success at that time. So I was quite inspired at that time, and they have been pivotal in very many ways. What I thought at that time was that yes, they would be very, very important, but what made me choose the decision was just the courage inside me. Nobody usually agrees to relocate or wants to move out of their home city and go, and especially women, for reasons that we all know, right? But I have had the courage to go and say that, okay, it's perfectly fine. You tell me what is the role, and I would like to explore the opportunities there. I also want to talk about, beyond courage, how consistent you are with your courage. Like how many times, it's not that in the beginning of your career you take a plunge and you think that, no, you have to kind of be consistent with your courage, with your belief in yourself, with the success of the campaigns that you have. You have to talk about your success stories more often. I think women fall short of that. Women are far more humbler, which doesn't always work in their favor. So you work and create success, do that consistently, and then share your success stories.
That's a great mantra for everyone. Not only be consistent, courage, consistency, and then share that.
Spreading your stories.
Creating that awareness for others that, hey, here's a person. And I love the fact that you didn't let anything hold back the fact that you said, I'm open to moving. If it's a growth, learning, and an opportunity, I'm open to being that person there and taking that risk in a way. So tell me, in all this, because it's a hectic life that you're leading with the work and setting up a function or starting a global, being part of a large organization, how do you manage your health in all of that?
That's a very good question. Maybe when I was younger, I was not really managing my health, and I probably paid the price, maybe last few years. But yes, managing your health, not just your physical health, but your mental health and your, other overall well-being is important. So I am actually, I do take exercises thrice. I have hired a trainer thrice a week. I started during the COVID days, by the way, but I do that, and I was not doing that before. So, and I do meditations. So I do all these things. Apart from that, I also would encourage, choose any passion towards, any social cause and work towards it. While I am, a leader in the corporate world, one of the reasons why I speak so much is because I can, motivate students around it. I may also be involved in some other social causes, which I choose not to talk about much, but I would encourage that choose a social cause and do something about it.
So great, find a purpose. Invest in yourself, invest in your health, and find an accountability partner, because your physical trainer is your accountability partner, because they land up whether you like it or not. And also your meditation is your spiritual well-being. So all the well-beings come into play there, right? A little bit, one more aspect which we don't necessarily discuss it very openly in with women is about the financial aspect. How do you manage your financial savviness?
Oh yes, I have actually been inculcated. Financial independence has been inculcated in me since my teenage. I heard that term from my father even before I understood it. So I come from a family where all women are, supposed to be financially independent, and most of us are actively working in our careers. Financial independence is highly important. I cannot emphasize enough. Am I a finance expert? Not really. But yes, I do have enough investing on my own and taking advice from a financial advisor. I have been working on that aspect a lot, but it is very important. There is no way. I think I would urge many women who kind of, tend to, for motherhood or for many other personal reasons, who kind of leave out their career. I would encourage them to maintain your career, be self-reliant, and it's important, because if you will be a better mother, sister, wife, if you are active in your career and you are in touch with the outside world, so that you can grow professionally and personally. What I'm trying to say? I think success,
being financially independent, and I like the fact that reach out and ask for help, use the financial advisory group and really be that, because usually men have a great network where they rely on each other for all this. Women tend to do it more alone, and therefore it's important to reach out and get that advice. So now we're going to go to a different pace called the fun round, or the rapid fire round. If you could live in any fictional universe, which one would it be and why?
I would love to live in a fictional universe which is led completely by women. It's been a while in this man's world, so I'd love to be in a universe where we have only women leaders.
Oh wow, okay. And if you have to write an autobiography, what would it be called?
Queen of Courage.
Queen of Courage,
yes,
all right.
I resonate with my courage. I use my courage consistently. So I think I would like to.
Yeah. And what is that one hidden talent that you already have but nobody else knows about? You know it. It's it's a secret. It's hidden. What is it? And you can reveal it on this big stage.
Painting. So I'm good at painting, but not many people have seen my hands on the canvas yet. Oil on canvas is what I'm passionate about.
So on the other side, what is that one superpower that you'd love to possess?
To read, speak, and write all the languages of the world.
Oh wow. That's an interesting superpower for sure. And is there any favorite book or a quote that you're inspired by?
Yes. I came across this quote, I think maybe around 12 to 13 years ago. It's from Dalai Lama, and it says, "Sometimes not getting what you want can be a wonderful stroke of luck." I'd like to say to all the women, and all the viewers, that it's not sometimes, perhaps it's most of the time, that not getting what you want can be a wonderful stroke of luck. So believe in yourself, and believe in the courage that you have in your heart.
That's right, and I love it, because when one door shuts, there are many doors,
opens. Yeah.
And if you're only focused on that one door, you don't see the other doors that are there.
And as long as you're on the good side of God, and as long as you're on the good side of your karma, you will always
get that. What is that one leadership mantra that has to be, if that's one thing that you can be remembered for?
Believe in yourself. Believe that you're the queen of the world. When you believe that you're the queen of the world will be at your feet. And believe in be self-reliant, believe in creating success stories for yourself. Share those stories further. Why I'm share so that others can be inspired. It's not just that you will yourself grow. Of course you will grow, and you will grow many folds. Not everybody will know how much you've grown. But if you share your stories further, it will inspire others to grow.
Fantastic. Giving back as a way of growing.
Yes.
I love that. That it's not just about your own growth, but initially you mentioned it's your team's growth, and now you're saying when you talk, it's about the community that grows with. Thank you, Namita, for being here with us, and you really slayed the interview, and with a lot of your ideas on how to lead your life and your career and leadership mantra. I'm sure the audience here will love to know more about you. And thanks.
Thank you so much once again for inviting me. Thank you so much. It was wonderful being here.
Thank you. To our viewers, stay tuned for more such engaging discussion in the She Slays Leadership Talk series.